I'm May, and this is OP Said, the podcast where we explore Reddit's most talked about stories.
And I'm Mel, and today's stories have got loads of unexpected twists and turns.
And there's so much to unpack. I'm Marie.
Okay, let's jump into our first story. This one is from Today I Fucked Up.
Okay.
Can't wait to see how badly they mess up. Okay. Am I the asshole for not giving my mum her monthly money so I could have extra spending money on my vacation?
Yeah, you probably are.
For context, I, 26 female, give my mum a set amount of money every month. She's retired and gets a pension, but she says it's not enough to cover her expenses. She insists that it's my responsibility as her daughter to help her out financially. My sister and her husband give my mum more money than I do, and they have a baby, which makes me feel even guiltier. They often remind me that they manage to give more, even with their extra responsibilities. This month, I decided not to give my mum her usual amount because I planned a 10-day vacation with my fiance to another city. I could have still gone on the trip while giving her the money, but I wanted to have more spending money to fully enjoy my time away. Now my mum is upset and her attitude towards me has shifted. This isn't the first time she's been cold or distant when I couldn't or didn't give her money. Even though I know I could technically afford both, I feel guilty for choosing to prioritize myself and my vacation instead. So, Reddit, am I the asshole for skipping my monthly contribution to my mum so I could have more financial freedom on my trip? Before we answer that question, I have 4 edits. So, edit 1, I did tell her I wouldn't be able to send her money this month. That's why she said, no matter what happens, it's my responsibility to help her financially. I didn't give her a month notice, just some days before I went on vacation. Edit 2. Some of you have asked what her pension is. It's 1400 USD, but we live in Colombia, so life here is cheaper than in the US, for some perspective. Edit 3. For everyone saying I shouldn't be giving her any money and that is not my responsibility, I've tried to tell her I'll help her out when I can, but this only leads to her growing resentment towards me, turning cold, etc. I basically have no other option because if I don't send anything, my family says that I'm an asshole. If I send only when I can, they also get angry because my sister helps monthly. The only way to keep them happy is to send her money each month. I do feel used, and honestly, I only send not because I feel it in my heart, but because it feels it's the only way to keep peace in the family and avoid drama. Edit 4. I give her 250 USD monthly. My sister gives her double of that, plus she covers the expenses of lighting service. My mum lives alone in a big apartment she owns, so it's a bit more expensive than a regular apartment. So is she the asshole?
She needs to downsize. The mum needs to downsize and live within your means. Your kids should not have to try and cover the remaining expenses when, like, you're basically living in she said, a big apartment.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, downsize accordingly. And that way your kids don't have to actually add extra to it. And you wouldn't also have like a hostile relationship with your daughter, that basically the one that gives 250, which is OP. I think for the sake of everybody, I don't think that's fair. Like, you're getting older, you've obviously got older, you're getting a pension, and I know pensions don't cover everything, but I think if you downsized, you would have enough money that you wouldn't necessarily be a burden to your kids. I don't think she's the asshole necessarily. However, she didn't give her mum enough notice. She should have given her mum as much notice as possible, I think, because when someone's expecting payment, like, they need to know earlier than a few days.
Yeah.
I don't think that's really fair. However, my advice would be like, yeah, let's discuss your finances. Let's discuss downsizing so that everybody's happy, so that everyone can actually contribute what they can, as opposed to feeling guilt tripped and, do you know what I mean? And it becoming hostile and resentful between the two of us because I'm trying to live my life, but I now feel pressured into giving you money.
I don't think it's going to get any better. I think that as time goes on, as her family grows, should she choose to have a family, she's always going to want more. Why? Because the sister who has children gives double. I think the older she gets, it's going to be, you need to give more, because once her fiance, she's got a fiance, right? I heard correct. So if she's got a fiance, if they choose to, what's it called? He's going to also be expected to contribute to the mum's lifestyle, because let's face it, whether Colombia is less expensive or not, cost of living keeps rising as each year goes. So as it rises, she will expect more. And if you can't do it, nip it in the bud now. It might just mean that you're not cool with your family. But if you're not willing to lose your family, keep going on this train. That it is what it is in my eyes, anyway. Like, there's nothing really you can do, because the whole family is like, well, if we're doing it, you should be able to do it. So you're feeling pressured. You're not doing it out of love. Your mum is actually entitled, and she's behaving really badly, like a spoiled kid who throws a tantrum when she doesn't get her way. For her to grow cold towards you, that's really out of order. That's not how this thing works. So I don't
But
know.
that's why I think the solution, honestly, is to downsize. And a lot
She's
of
not
people
going to downsize, babe.
No, but I'm just saying, but the solution is to downsize. A
Yeah,
lot of
but-
people do that. Like, they get older, their kids have left, they no longer need like a 3 or 4 bed house. And honestly, like, I don't know what the ethnicity is of these people, but especially in the black community, there's that black tax where you have to look after your family. And it's like, do you know what? No, you shouldn't have to. Like, you've gotten older, like, your kids shouldn't have to forego enjoyment and like experiencing and enjoying life to the fullest to help you out, especially when there are easy solutions. And the easy solution would be actually to downsize your big apartment, live in something smaller, obviously still to your taste, but not to have to like pressure, like I don't know, I don't think you're a good parent personally in my eyes, and it could just be myself, if you're guilt tripping and pressuring your kids into taking care of you. Like,
Yeah,
your
but
kids should
that's-
want to help, but they shouldn't be forced into like it's your responsibility. Like, anyone that says that anyway, I think is in the wrong. Like, it's not your responsibility to do anything. You're a grown adult. Why have you not got enough money to cover your pension?
She has got enough money, though.
She has.
She has got enough money.
Exactly.
She just wants more.
It's for her
Exactly. So
expenses.
therefore, the mum's wrong.
I'm not
That's
saying
not
that the mum
fair.
is not wrong, but let me tell you something. When it comes to these sort of cultural beliefs, if everyone is in cahoots, the one person who's not has to decide, am I okay with not being a part of this?
Yeah.
Because that's the only way it's going to happen. She's not going to downsize. And I say that with confidence, because I feel like that's what happens. Why would I downsize when I'm getting everything that I need?
But you can't even afford it.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter.
You
You
literally
can't afford it, but everyone else is still providing. So why would I? If my
Yeah.
bad behavior is being fed, and every time I kick a fuss, it still gets doubled or tripled or whatever, clearly the other kids believe that that's what they should be doing for the parent. So the
No.
one child who doesn't is going to be left out. Sorry, she just has to. In
Yeah,
this
I don't agree
scenario,
with it. See, if I was her, I would say, yeah, I'm not doing it.
yeah, but again,
I would
every time
honestly
we
say
speak
not
about
doing
these
it.
things, yeah, I always remember. You always have to remember this is how you think, because you're the rebel and you're the person in your family that said, "Peace out,
Yeah.
a child out." I know that I'm the person in my family, but there are some people.
No, I know.
Family means everything to them, and
Yeah.
they'll do
No.
things that they hate because they love their family, or they just aren't strong enough to rebel.
Yeah.
And people really cling on to family. And I've realized that when I look outside of certain people and I see them being treated badly, but like, yeah, but that's my sister.
No.
But yeah, that's my, and it's just like, and I always know
Literally.
what I'm coming from. Anyone can go at any time. Anyone could go at any time. But to some people, they need those people.
I
And they're not strong
know.
enough to let go. So they would rather be in that situation. So she's never going to say downsize. Which voice is that? She barely told, she couldn't even tell her properly that she was going on holiday. She was going to give her money. It's just not what she does, clearly. And it's not what her family is going to allow her to do. So she is pretty much trapped.
Don't pressure me.
Yeah.
I'm telling you that for
I
free.
was going to say, like, honestly, your perspective is also very westernized.
Colombia.
That's what I was going to say. Let me hold your hands and say, she ain't going to downsize.
No,
Like,
I know. But you know what? It's not
genuinely,
necessarily westernized. You know what it is?
it's
It's a very logical
Yeah, that's what I was going to
perspective.
say. It's a
You,
very
you
logical...
you say it's westernized, but it's actually just
but it's
logical.
also westernized.
It's practical and
Okay,
logical.
Okay, hear me out.
No, I know.
I fully understand where you're coming from, and you're right. It's completely logical, because fact of the matter is, an adult should be able to sustain themselves. They shouldn't rely on other people to do that
Your
for
kids,
them.
like,
as an adult.
Culturally, though,
that's what I was going to say. See,
the kids look after the parents
Thank
when
you.
they get old.
I understand that, but there's that, and she is from Colombia. She's not the...
No, I know,
Okay,
I know.
look, one, she's not the asshole,
No.
but more notice would have been appreciated.
Yeah,
Like,
I
just
think so,
generally
yeah.
speaking.
But it's resentment that led her to that.
Yeah. And then also, it's like, honestly, I agree with Marie. Like, stop this right now.
Yeah, I would.
Because fact of the matter is, you're not happy in this whole agreement that you have. It's not your idea. You've been doing it with resentment, clearly, because as you said, you could have given her usual amount, but you chose not to.
Yeah.
You decided to use that as spare cash instead. So all that's saying to me is you've been forced.
Yeah.
You're forced and you're trapped.
Pressured.
And fact of the matter is, I'm really concerned about the fact that your mum's love and her behaviour towards you is contingent on the amount of money that you send her monthly.
Yeah.
And even then, she says it's not enough. So I'm really concerned if you think that this is, and you need to really look inside yourself, OP, and ask yourself, is this a healthy family dynamic? Because I think the answer is no. And if it's no, then you need to get to figuring out what type of family dynamic you'll be happy with. And if it doesn't look and profile like the setup that you're currently in, then you need to possibly be okay with walking away from that situation. And I don't think you will, because I can honestly say, I'm going to imagine that you're going to be in this trap for the rest of your life.
For a very long time.
Yeah.
Do you know the person that might be able to dig them out? The partner.
That's
The
what I was
partner
going to say.
is like,
she gets
we're
married,
not doing this, then we're not doing it. Then she can
Yeah.
actually have a voice, because people need to feel backed. I promise you, in your family, it was good because you had your sister. In my family, I didn't have nobody, but I would still be like, no, I'm not doing it. And it was also because my family was distant. Like, they weren't in the same country. It's easy to say no when I'm in France and you're over there. I'll be like, I can't come. And then with every time I said that, I was like, I'm not going anyway. And you get the strength from that. But if you're in the same city, they have access to you, you get weaker because there's too many voices. So if you don't have anyone in your corner, it's very hard to feel like I'm right. But she is getting that inkling that it's not correct, because she's doing things and she's becoming the person that's out of order, because she's now doing things like, not giving 3 days notice before the holiday. That's when you start doing things out of character. You're going to find yourself doing that a lot. Yeah. Because you resent the whole situation.
Yeah. But also the fact that everybody's kind of rallied around and now have this idea that she's an asshole for not contributing, that shouldn't sit right with you, in the sense that your money is your own. Yes, help your family where you can, but you shouldn't do it only because it's coming from if I don't do that, then mum's going to treat me this way. Yeah. If I don't do it, then my sister's going to think that I'm an arsehole. If I don't do it, like, I don't think that if you don't do it should be the reasons that you do something. Yeah.
I promise you, the sister don't even want to do it.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
No,
I promise you, the sister probably don't even want to do it. But they've been doing it.
It's a trap.
Also,
it's a family trap.
It's just... I don't know if you guys ever watched 90 Day Fiancé. There was a particular family and they lived... I can't even remember. She married... She was Samoan.
Was it the Samoan guy?
Yeah, the Samoan.
Yeah.
The
and
Samoan,
his mum insisted that she give him everything.
To give, and the sister was berating her and saying, you have to give us a certain amount. The guy wasn't even working. In America, he wasn't even working, but the sister.
And so then it was the wife's duty to give money to her mother-in-law.
They were also Samoan but American. Yeah, and it was like, you have to give the money, and it popped off. Yeah, and it was because one side of the family was like, no, the agreement was you go to America, you get money for us. They were more than capable of doing it, and it was like, I have to give, you have to give, they have to give. It's just the way the thing's done, and you can't. You have to be a really strong person to say no to that sort of aggression as well. It comes with aggression.
No, I know.
I'm not saying that what you're saying is wrong, because you're very right. But what I'm realizing more and more is that if you had a choice between family and what's right, a lot of people will choose family. Yeah. And they'll be miserable.
And I agree with it. But honestly, there is so much strength and so many advantages to being like the rebel or the black sheep of the family.
In the long run.
As a living testament, this is a living testimony. I can tell you right now, there are a lot of advantages. Like,
no
put your
stress,
foot down.
Peace.
Yeah, I'm telling you right now, like, I have so much peace. I don't have arguments. No one is resentful, like, because I look out for myself.
I'm not saying that
Like,
you're
you have
wrong.
to. You have
I
to.
agree.
No. I'm talking about someone that was born in Africa. Like, I grew up as a Ugandan girl, even though I live in London. Like, literally, when I say everything, principles, etc., etc., and so I totally get it. Like, our culture's a bit like that as well. But I'm telling you right now, there is just certain things I just will never ever accept, and I won't tolerate. And it sounds like Opie's being forced into doing something that is just, it's not fair to her. She doesn't like it. And yeah, if my advice to her would be, no, you're not the asshole. Maybe stop doing what you're doing and have an honest conversation with your family, what you can and can't do.
Girl.
And
That will
was
change
nothing.
nothing.
no, but you know what it is though. Do you know what's better though? Even if it doesn't change anything, what is better is for people to have low expectations of you. I'm telling you, when your family members start having low expectations, it is an advantage. Like, it sounds bad at the time, but then when it's like, oh yeah, she's unreliable, there's so many advantages, because then no one can ask you for nothing. No one can ask you for anything.
You have to
But
get to that point.
but see,
I know. I'm talking from a
and
position
also-
where none of this would ever hit me.
yeah. But also, you're talking from a strength of character that OP clearly doesn't have.
I
Yeah.
know.
So
Sorry,
it's
sis.
just-
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
So
You're,
it's like,
you're coming
see-
from this.
yeah,
Like,
see-
bye, guys.
See, your advice.
I'm trying.
No, your advice
I'm
is-
trying.
your advice-
Honestly, I'm trying.
It's logical. Your advice is
Bruh.
very, very logical.
I've been there. Trust me, I've been
However,
there.
It's also minus the family ties, minus the
Yeah,
family
yeah. I
pressure,
don't have-
minus
no one's
so
pressuring
many
me.
things.
Yeah.
So fact of the matter is,
I know.
honestly, I don't see things changing, if I'm being completely honest with you.
Not for now, anyway.
Yeah.
But she should
not
just
for
stop
now.
altogether, and then no one would say
Still
nothing.
not for now.
Still not for now.
No
I
one
really
say
like
anything.
that you want OP to...
Just to stand
But-
firm.
It's not happening.
It's not happening.
Completely off topic, we know that 96% of you guys that watch our content are not subscribed. Could you do us a favor and hit the subscribe button if you've ever found any of our content interesting or entertaining? It helps us more than you know and helps to push our content out to people just like yourself. We're also on X, Instagram, and TikTok. So make sure to follow us on those platforms. We have different content for each platform.
Okay, so my one's from Am I the Arsehole? Am I the arsehole for not giving up my first class seat to an entitled mum and her baby?
No. No, you are not the arsehole.
the first
I don't
case.
even need to hear anything more.
As soon as she said entitled, it was
There
over.
is, yeah.
Okay. I, 19 female, recently took my first ever solo trip. I've been on plenty of vacations, but all of them have been paid for by my parents. This time it was different. Recently, I've been trying to set new financial goals, and one of them was to take a solo trip fully paid by myself. I've saved up for almost a year and planned everything out perfectly. I treated myself to a first class seat for my flight. It was a splurge, but I wanted this trip to be perfect since it was my first real adventure of my own. When I got to my seat, I was super excited. Everything was going so well, but not long after, a woman, 30-ish, with a baby approached me. She politely asked if I could swap seats with her because she was in economy and sitting in first class would make it easier to handle her baby.
Should have got a first class seat. then.
She should have brought first
that's
class
very
money.
crazy, you know?
That is
Whoa.
wild.
It
And
is
I guarantee
entitled.
she picked out the 19-year-old because she looked young and she looked like she could persuade her.
I don't care if you have a screaming kid. Go back to your seat,
Go
sis.
get your first class money.
Yeah. What? No, I'm sorry. Absolutely not.
Look at you come with your economy self to first
It's not even a
class.
comedy plus.
If you want,
Oh,
pay for the upgrade.
and talk about, did you just have this baby today?
Yeah, well, I don't understand.
Me
Did
and
the baby
my baby,
Is
we
it
can't
new?
possibly
Like-
be in Are you crazy?
upgrade, pay for
Get
that
to the
upgrade.
back.
Literally. I was caught off guard. I felt bad for her, but I said no and explained that this was my first flight alone and something I'd been planning and saving up for a long time.
She's good, boy.
She didn't care. And what started as a polite request from her quickly turned into an aggressive demand for some reason. She was getting angrier and angrier, and I kept denying the request. I tried to be as polite as possible since she was an older woman and was struggling with taking care of her baby. Even though she was being super rude to me, I still sympathised with her and tried not to hurt her feelings too much. After this, the flight attendant came and took her back to her seat.
Right.
She walked off glaring at me. Rest of the flight, I could feel other passengers giving me dirty looks, and one even said something about how I should have been more understanding.
Why don't you give up your seat
Why?
then?
Right.
Exactly. I felt embarrassed and spent the rest of the flight second guessing myself. This trip was supposed to be a milestone for me, something special I had worked for. Instead, I feel like I ruined someone else's day, even though I didn't mean to. Now I'm trying not to let that affect the rest of my vacation, but can't stop wondering, am I the asshole?
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
I actually feel sorry that this. Do you
Yeah,
know what,
I feel
OP?
sorry, this was a bad
Sorry that
start.
this lady
Yeah.
ruined the start of your holiday. You're absolutely not the asshole. That lady was so entitled to what she couldn't afford. You got there through saving for a whole year
Yeah.
to get a first class ticket. She should have saved her money, but she came with her economy self to first class. It's nothing to do with you.
At all.
Her not having the money for first class, her not having the space in economy has nothing to do with you. And I really hate they impacted your trip.
That's so unfair.
And also, how dare she look back at you glaringly?
Yeah, she's very entitled. But what she should have done is spoken to a flight attendant and asked whether there was a quiet seat anywhere on the plane. I think that would be the right thing to do. But because she's
I've done
so
that
entitled,
so many times.
No, but because she's so entitled, she went right to the front. And so you think that you could get
And
first
she
class?
spotted a
Yeah.
young adult that she thought that she could manipulate and persuade
Exactly,
to
not
give
the
a seat
arsehole.
over. You're
Not the
not.
arsehole.
And also, you're a victim. What she did is she identified that you would
feel
be
so sorry for
someone that could
her.
be easily swayed into foolishly giving up your seat that you paid for.
Do you know what I wish you would have done, OP? Those people that were giving you dirty looks, why didn't you give up
Thank you.
your seat? That's
Yep.
what I would have said.
Yep.
You lot talking, why didn't you give up your seat?
Exactly.
Why? Because you paid for yours. So, you know what? Shut up. And let's buckle up and let me lean back in my seat as I enjoy my
Right.
first class that I paid for.
And do you know what? I'm so big on saying you get what you pay for.
Literally.
She paid for economy seats. She will get economy seats. You paid for first class. You should get a first class experience.
Do you know what is so funny as well? When you have children, you can actually get extra leg room in the front. She could have actually called the airline and said, I've got a child.
Yeah.
Can I have extra? Because when the kids were babies, we always had extra leg room
Yeah.
when they were kids, because then they put a little bassinet
basket, yeah.
in the front.
Yeah.
And it's done. You don't even have to pay extra for that.
Yep.
I promise you, this is not the first time that she's pulled this stunt.
It's because she's entitled, honestly.
Thank you.
Her first step should have been to speak to a flight attendant.
Correct.
No, literally.
I agree.
Why
I
are you approaching another customer?
And
Literally.
how
Telling
come
you,
it
Like,
got
why
that
should
far?
she? Why should she?
It's because she
sort your
spotted
problem?
She
Yeah,
spotted
I
a
know.
young
No, but that's
person.
She's a
really-
predator.
Do
She's
you
a
know, that's really
predator.
wild though. When you go on a plane, you can't even go to the first class if you don't show your ticket. So how did she get there?
When you first get on, you can.
When you
You
first
either
get
go
on,
left
you
or
go
right.
through first class.
Yeah, but don't you show
She-
your ticket and then they guide you to the...
Yeah, they tell you,
Yeah,
but
but-
they
but
don't
she's
follow
put- but
you
she- yeah.
down.
But also, she's probably got there, seen where her seat is, and decided, no, I don't want this one. I want that. So then gone all the way to the other side. That's what she's probably done.
Yeah.
I
That's
think this was a
literally.
weak airline, because let me tell you something. Any plane that I've gotten, I can't get... It's
Oh,
almost
is
like they're
it?
bodyguards at that first class. If you
No,
don't have
you
a seat,
can.
you can't really go there unless it's like near a toilet. She must have pretended she was going to the toilet or something, because that's crazy.
I don't even care
Possibly,
how she
but-
got there. I'm telling you that this is somebody who thought that she could manipulate a young person.
Yeah, no, I agree
And
with
she
you.
thought that she could
Yeah.
guilt trip them,
But she
create
got
some sort of
aggressive.
emotional plea. And when that didn't work, she
got
thought
aggressive,
aggression
you
will
know?
work.
Yeah.
And the thing is, tell me the last time being aggressive meant that you got your way with you and your kids in tow. No, it doesn't happen. I'm so annoyed because I just think, why can't single people enjoy? Because
Yeah.
I'm so tired. I see it all the time. It's like, if you don't have a family set up, if you don't come with a husband, if you don't come with a wife,
but I would say
why
single
can't
women.
single
I would say
women,
single women.
single
Yeah.
people enjoy?
Society makes it look like, oh no, you've got more free time. You can go with less. Like you've got such disposable
said that
income.
for a
You
year.
can pay for more. And it's just like,
Bless
no-
her.
you
And
don't know her
most
situation.
19-year-olds aren't very good at saving. So she saved for a year.
Yeah.
She should have had a good start to her holiday. And unfortunately, this woman saw her as a victim. She saw her as somebody that she could master manipulate to get her way. And
Poor
I just
girl.
really hate that.
I hope she has an amazing vacation, honestly.
You're not
Amazing
the
adventure.
arsehole.
Yeah.
You're not the
Not the
arsehole.
asshole.
So mine is from Truth Off My Chest. I want to divorce my wife over her hair.
Woo!
More to
Okay.
come on this story. Our little girl's wedding was back in October and it was a fucking disaster because of my wife. My
Whoa.
wife and daughter had gotten into a fight before the wedding, seemingly made up a few days before, so we flew down and we're gonna stay until after the wedding. When we got there, my wife started complaining about her hair. My daughter was suggesting a few of the salons around New Orleans that would have fit her in before the wedding. My wife asked her if she would just do her hair. In brackets, my daughter has her beauty license. My daughter agreed, and that's when the disaster started. My wife's hair was too warm, then too cool, then too warm again. My daughter had done her hair 3 times in a row, 6 hours each time, because my wife has a lot of hair and was wanting to be foiled back to back. My daughter said she couldn't do it again for the 4th time because she didn't want to overprocess her hair and that her body was killing her. She said she had become burnt out from her nursing job, her hair job, and now all the wedding planning and running around. This 3rd appointment was the day of her wedding, by the way. And before it started, my wife said, don't take another 10 hours to do it.
Whoa.
My wife became very short and snippy with her and complained about her hair the entire time. She kept sending my daughters pictures of hair colours that she liked and telling her she coloured her too grey and cool. My daughter was in tears during her wedding because she said her feet were blistered, so it was hard for her to walk in the
Oh my
heels she had
god.
purchased for her wedding day. Her husband gently asked us if we could go home the day after the wedding, and I, of course, agreed. I was continuously telling my wife that her hair looked amazing and to leave our daughter alone, but she kept saying, this is her job. I snapped at her after the 2nd appointment and said enough is enough. I also learned that my daughter had spent over $400 just on products for my wife's hair.
Wow.
My little
What?
girl and her husband make enough to sustain themselves fine and live comfortably, but I know that after their wedding, they wanted to tighten their belts and start saving up for a house because they plan on trying for kids soon. After the wedding, my wife had completely blown up once we got home, saying her hair was a mess and she was going to have to pay a lot more money to get it fixed. She texted our daughter and ripped into her ass, saying that what she wanted wasn't that hard and she's completely destroyed her hair. Our daughter just replied with, she's sorry and hasn't talked to us since. She sent me a happy Thanksgiving text and told me she loved me, but she hasn't talked to her mum since the text and only keeps in regular contact with her siblings. I am so beyond pissed off. She had worked hard, coming off a 16-hour nursing shift and immediately doing her mum's hair for 6 hours and then 2 more 6-hour appointments back to back. And my wife is still ungrateful. This isn't the woman I married. This isn't the mother that I know. If I have to hear about her precious hair one more time, I'm going to leave because no hair is worth her relationship with her daughter. And that's it.
That woman's a tyrant.
She's horrible.
She is awful.
As a
What?
hairdresser, I would never do hair the day of my wedding. 6 hours back
Yeah.
to back. That your daughter is a gem. She wanted to please. You see me? You're
Whoa.
going to the hairdresser. You didn't go to the hairdresser, you can piss off. I don't care who you are. But again, I always come from this. Other people are not like that. And clearly, this is one of those
Yeah.
people. She
No,
wants to
that
please
woman
her
is
mum.
no, that woman
And
is
that woman insulted her.
unreasonable.
She didn't give a heck.
No, Marie, she's unreasonable.
Yeah, she is.
She knows what her daughter's life is like. She's done nursing, then she's doing the hair. And 3 times. What's wrong with this mother? No, there's actually something seriously wrong with her because do you know what it is? It's like, have you no sympathy for your own daughter?
No, some people just
Like,
care about themselves. You know that, right?
The
To
day
this
of the
extent as well.
wedding.
Yeah.
So the 4th time is on
Yeah.
her wedding day. What's wrong with you that you can't get money and go and get someone to do it for you?
Because she didn't want to spend it. She knew that her daughter would do it for free. Let me tell you
No,
something
that
about
is
people.
awful.
And you guys know I've got stories. Let me tell you something
Oh
about
my
people.
god.
People think that because you're family and there's a skill in the family that automatically makes that family member the go-to.
I know.
Why
And
would I
free of
go
charge
to?
as well.
Yeah, and free
Yeah.
of charge. So they can take the piss and they can say you're going to do this and you have to hold it down. You have to have guts. You have to say no from the beginning. You have to have your boundaries set. whether it's
Oh.
discounted pricing or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Because if you don't, especially with someone like that, you're going to end up in tears. Look at her, she's ruined her wedding day. And
Her
good
mum
for the
is a
husband. Good for the
monster.
husband for
Yeah,
telling them to go home.
go home
But
early.
you know what?
Yeah.
Husband, to a certain extent, you should have said she ain't doing your hair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because after that
But
first 6 hour,
he may have
I'm not saying
he may have
obviously
privately had that conversation, and she said, "No, this is my mum. I have to."
she's horrible.
Like, that mum is awful,
Left a
guys.
really nice bad taste.
Yeah.
She
in my
said
mouth.
she
I
had
think-
blisters on her feet that day
Yeah.
of her wedding.
So here's where I'm at.
And she's
Oh.
crying.
OP. So
Oh,
OP,
my heart bleeds
I
for
need
her.
you to pay the 400 odd pounds, whatever it is, to
Exactly.
To
To
help
pay
your-
for your daughter.
to help your
She-
daughter
he
get
needs to
right.
pay-
No, but OP needs to pay for
to get
his
right.
daughter.
Take
yeah,
it from your
reimburse
joint
her.
account.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want you to be the sole person that's paying for this.
Reimburse her.
Reimburse her because you know what her financial position is.
Exactly.
Go
I think you
call
should pay
your
her back
daughter.
2004.
Yeah.
6 hours
Yeah.
foil thingy.
Yep.
Thank you.
400 and the time. He needs to give her about $3,000. That's a lot of.
Yeah.
That is a lot of money
But
that
what
she
I-
spent.
What I
that
need for you
is-
to do first and foremost is go see your daughter.
Yeah.
Go see your daughter and apologize on behalf of the mum. That's she can separately apologize, but just say, I saw what went down. Like, I don't want you to think that no one's in your corner. I saw everything that happened. I'm so sorry that you went through it. I know that you and your husband have all these plans. I'm so sorry that your wedding was ruined. Do you know what? Just even acknowledging what happened is a really big thing. So I think just like go to her, talk to her,
It
give
feels
her
like
the
he did,
money as
though.
well.
It feels like he did say
And
something
then-
because he said that he actually got snappy with his wife and said something.
I know, but that's not the same thing as like talking to the daughter and acknowledging
yeah.
that her wedding was actually ruined because of it.
That
or,
is so
Or it didn't go
sad.
to plan because she had blisters on her feet. Like, do that. Help out financially where you can, because obviously I don't know what your financial situation is. But then also the title is very misleading, saying that you want a divorce for the hair. I think that you really need to sit down and ask yourself, because you have said that you recognise that this woman is not the woman you married. Is this the woman that you want to continue the rest of your life with? Because I do think that her character sounds horrible.
Horrid.
And also, I don't think that she's a good mother as well.
Yeah.
So it's, yes, you do have kids or the one child with this person, but is this actually who you want to spend the rest of your life with? I do think if you do want to get a divorce based not just on this, because I'm sure this isn't an isolated incident, based on her character, then go forth and get that divorce. But this was horrible.
Mhm.
I'm just like, you just don't do. She was mean. She was cruel. She was entitled. She was disrespectful. She was inconsiderate. Like, there's so many things that she did wrong. And like, do you know what it is? On a regular day, it's wrong.
You know,
But on
she
a day of her
called up-
wedding, it's even worse.
No, that's not even.
Like-
and then to add insult to injury, you know, she called up
And
the next day.
yeah.
After, so I don't know if they went on a honeymoon, but she called up the next day to complain.
To complain again.
That's
Like,
crazy.
what's
She
wrong
didn't
with her
call
that
her
she's
to
got
complain. She called her to cuss
to
her.
cuss her? Apparently, she went in.
Complain and cuss.
What's wrong with this woman that she's got no self-awareness or like
Somebody just
understanding
got
of
married.
the rest
It
of
should
the
be blissful, and you
And
call
your-
someone to cuss them.
and your daughter.
She's not right in the head.
You should be more concerned about your daughter's happiness, how she looks on the day, as opposed to about yourself, your hair, and getting it right. Like,
Not
no,
right.
she
So
is
it's not
awful.
right.
Yeah, like me, honestly, in regards to are you the asshole?
You're not the asshole.
You're not the asshole. Get that divorce if you don't want to be married to a monster like that.
To be fair, he never asked if he was the asshole.
Oh, I thought he did.
You guys always
was
go
a
off on
truth
the
of my
truth
chest.
of my chest.
My God, sorry, sorry, but
It's like you guys are programmed to say
I
you're not
know.
the arsehole.
I think we are.
Sometimes it just be like relationship advice. You're not the arsehole. That's
I
it.
think we are. I think we are.
Yeah,
But yeah, no. Oh, I feel so
I
sorry
couldn't
for
be
her.
with someone like that, so I'm
I
gonna
feel
advocate
so-
that you get that divorce because
I
that's
feel
a
so
horrible
sorry
human
for her.
being.
I
It's a
feel-
horrible.
Let me
human
tell you
being.
something. She's been a horrible human being.
Oh.
This is not the first
I know.
example.
That's
But
get that
it's
divorce,
what she's
Sophie.
become
I
from what
know.
he's saying.
My story comes from relationship advice. How to deal with the trauma with your husband, 29 male, leaving you, 24 female, at the hospital.
Hmm.
Hi all, throwaway account. I had a miscarriage and it almost ended my life. I was dealing with hypermesis, heart failure, and ended the pregnancy. I was dropped off to the hospital as I was vomiting and having convulsive shaking nonstop. After being checked, I was told I had a miscarriage and I informed my husband, who was at work. I expected him to visit me straight after work, but instead, he went past his sister's house and then decided to show up with her after a few hours. I ended up having to be hospitalized and stayed there for a week, and my husband wasn't really there for me. The breaking point was when his day off came up and I begged him to visit me, but instead he was busy running errands for his family member. He did eventually come to me towards the end of the day, but by that point, I was upset. And when he entered my room, I kicked him out. He didn't know I had his location, so when I checked, I saw he was at his friend's house. I called him and asked him what he was up to, and he said he was so mad that I kicked him out that he went to sleep it off at home. I confronted him and told him his location is on and that he's at his friend's house. Anyways, he ignored me for the rest of my stay and didn't pick me up from the hospital to take me home, even though he knew I was being released. His excuse was that he was upset I kicked him out in the first place.
No.
I was still recovering from the heart failure when I was released, and I wasn't able to walk for more than a few meters without stopping for a break. I ended up catching a taxi and bled in the car, and the taxi said it was fine. The driver showed more compassion for me than my own husband did in that time. I spent a few nights alone, unable to shower or make food or tea for myself. My husband still blames me for kicking him out, but the whole time I was in a hospital, I would call him to make sure he would come to visit me in hospital every day and beg to come after work. He never brought food or clean clothes for me my whole stay. I'm really struggling a lot with being blamed for the reason he didn't pick me up, and my reaction was uncalled for. After about 6 months of crying and arguing, he has admitted that he was wrong, but the blame should be shared. He has tried zero effort to try and amend things. He never checks in with me to see how I am. I'm still dealing with health issues, still to this day. My husband doesn't understand how badly I'm affected by this. I feel like others are put before me in our marriage constantly. I've tried divorcing over this, but he will say he has changed and will do anything to fix it. But after, will say things like, but you kicked me out. But then say he was wrong for leaving me in the hospital. I'm so confused. He'll even say things like he's affected by the loss of the baby, but hasn't said anything about the baby outside of when I'm trying to leave or whenever I'm upset about the situation. How does one deal with a situation like this?
Divorce.
Do you know what? Top comment says, divorce and therapy. I wouldn't treat a stranger that way, much less someone I claim to love.
That man is cruel.
That man, if Show Me You Hate Me was a person.
Yep.
What?
That man is terrible. Do you know why he's terrible? He abandoned her. Do you know the man abandoned her? And then he used a weak ass excuse such as, oh, you kicked me out. She said she had heart failure, bro.
I know.
And still
Heart
has-
failure, miscarriage,
And health issues to this day.
vomiting, bled in the cab home, couldn't shower for days,
Couldn't cook.
couldn't stand
Couldn't
up,
change.
couldn't change, all the rest for days. And he went to his friend's house.
Prisoners get better.
And he said it's because she kicked him out. That man doesn't even like you, sis. I'm so sorry. Let me be the one to tell you. That man doesn't like you. You need to get a divorce because you know what? Even your worst enemy wouldn't treat you like that. Like,
a prison warden will give you
and
more.
also, listen, also that man is manipulative. As soon as you mention divorce, all of a sudden he knows better and he regrets everything that he did. But then at the same time, then he brings up the baby, the loss of the baby, how that affected him. That man is manipulating you and gaslighting you. Leave
And he's really bad at
immediately.
it.
And
He's terrible.
also leave quietly.
Yeah.
Leave
I was
quietly.
going to say, like, honestly, get that divorce,
Whoa.
but stop announcing it.
Leave
Like,
quietly.
seriously, please leave
quietly.
Move in with a sister, a sibling, a friend. Move out. Do it quickly and quietly.
That
Yeah,
man is.
definitely.
That man doesn't care about you. Honestly, if there
He
if there
hates
was
you.
ever a situation where you have to see whether someone cares about
He
you,
hates you.
it's when you're at when you're really ill and when you're nearly dying, bro. And if someone doesn't show up for you, then they don't care about you. Okay, so this is from Would I Be the Arsehole? Would I be the arsehole if I intentionally ruined my husband's ex-wife's career?
I love Avengers story. Go on.
Wow.
Same.
Buckle up. This is a long one. My husband, who I call hubby, has a son with his ex-wife Karen. After the divorce, Karen married Kevin. For the sake of simplicity, I'll refer to the child as son. At 15, son said he wanted to live with hubby and I. Now, Karen is the epitome of a Karen.
I knew I
Fantastic.
didn't like Karen.
I love that. Do you know that? That's hilarious. Okay. She is the standard to which all other Karens aspire to Karen. Wow.
Not the Karen OG.
She said,
The original. Oh, wow. Okay.
Okay, go on.
When Karen learned son wanted to live with hubby, things did not go well. After multiple meetings and attempts of mediation, we had to go to court for a verdict. The judge awarded hubby more custody but denied son's request. In our country, children are able to decide which parent they wish to reside with. You may be wondering why the judge did not honour son's request. The answer is simple and heartbreaking. The judge did not want to deal with Karen. Wow. Karen's previous attorney fired her, and the current attorney can barely keep Karen in check. Our attorney
Wow.
refers to Karen as batshit crazy. At the advice of our attorney, we agreed not to continue to push for more custody, as it was very hard on Son as he suffers from a neurodivergent disorder. Son was not happy his request was denied by the judge, but was happy Karen lost some control over his life and that hubby had a more equal footing. Things went well for a little bit. Over the next 2 years, Son became increasingly upset with mother. He would get annoyed when she called or texted and became more angry at our home. Son's older brother asked how we were dealing with his disrespectful behaviour and angry outbursts. Hubby and I stared at each other for what felt like minutes before I could manage. He doesn't act that way at our house. We continued to help Son through arguments with Karen and kept our attorney informed of the problems, but there wasn't enough evidence to sway the court. One afternoon, Karen got into a heated argument with Son. Son had to walk home from school in a heavy rainstorm while Karen sat at home.
Hey.
By the time Son got home, he was completely soaked and cold. Karen found this hilarious and refused to let Son change until she took a photo of him.
That's abuse.
This tangent would be relevant later. A few months later, Karen's older son, in brackets I'll call him OS, and Son were together. Karen decided to tell OS the story of Son walking home in the rain and shared the photo. Son became upset about this, and Karen told him, "Don't be a baby," and continued to mock Son. This was like throwing gasoline on a fire. Eventually, Karen stormed off, and the boys heard a loud thud. Karen claims Son upset her and it triggered her cardiac condition, which caused her to collapse. Karen said she broke her arm when she collapsed. Son was inconsolable. As Son told him this, we noticed inconsistencies in Karen's story. Karen refused medical treatment for her injuries and her broken arm miraculously healed the next day. Karen used this medical emergency to guilt Son for the next few days and even blamed the entire thing on Son. To say I was livid would be an understatement. After some time and perspective, Son realised the entire situation was staged and that Karen was fine. Things with Karen deteriorated rapidly after that night. Son said he lost a little bit of respect he had for her. My heart broke for him, but hubby and I were always ready to listen and help Son wherever we could. Fast forward, and Son is almost an adult, and his relationship with Karen is even worse. Karen and Kevin belittle Son on a regular basis. They refused to prepare food for Son when he was sick, push the responsibility of the dog and puppy on Son, and insist that he does chores at inappropriate times. Son struggles with sleep as Karen frequently makes him stay up late to watch TV so he can participate in family time. Things got even worse when Karen started playing Son's favourite video game. The video game is not for rookies and takes some skill. Hubby and Son both play the game and enjoy bonding over it. They discuss characters, gameplay, and strategies to beat specific levels. This is where Son's neurodevelopment disorder benefits him greatly. Son knows intricate details of the game and plays it well. Because of this, Karen uses Son as a game guide. At first, Son didn't mind and was happy to help Karen learn how to play the game. In her true fashion, Karen made the experience intolerable. She would badger Son into helping her to the detriment of his homework or sleep and generally treat him badly. This week, things got heated between Karen and Son. Karen complained to Kevin and he yelled at Son, calling him selfish and an asshole.
Why would you do that?
That was the night hubby received a text from Son that will be burned in my memory forever. Son sent a goodbye text to hubby and ran away.
Oh no.
Karen and Kevin didn't know Son ran away, but a security camera provided all the evidence we needed. Karen casually told hubby, well, what I'm about to tell you won't make you feel any better. Son isn't here and he left his phone behind. Karen refused to call emergency services because she didn't want Son labelled as a delinquent. I called emergency service,
Good.
OS, and anyone who lived close to Son. When we got to Son's house, I noticed his coat was still there, and I began to panic as the temperature was just above freezing. I knew Son wouldn't be able to be outside for much longer. We began to search the house with the police in case Son came back to warm up. Fortunately, Son was spotted not too far from his home by Kevin. When Son saw Kevin, he sprinted the opposite direction to avoid him.
Good.
Son was found by the police and relieved of the knife he was carrying. This was when we learned Son was planning to end his life. Fortunately, the cold temperatures prevented him from succeeding. Son was driving back to his home and immediately asked for hubby. Son refused Karen and Kevin. The police upheld his request. After lots of hugs, Son agreed to go to the hospital but still refused to see Karen or Kevin. Hubby, OS, and I were allowed to be with Son. Karen wouldn't accept this and threatened to sue the hospital if they denied her request.
Oh, for God's
Of course, the hospital complied. On this night, Karen's biggest concern was that hubby did not use this emergency as a reason to have Son removed from her care. Since that night, Son was transferred to a different hospital. He barely speaks to Karen, and when he does, it's robotic or filled with anger. He refused to hug her and say, I love you. Son asked us to tell Karen that he doesn't want to see Kevin, hear anything about him, or even hear his name. I relayed that information to her today, and she brought up Kevin in front of Son moments later. After our visit, she sent an angry text to hubby telling him he was not right to tell her not to mention Kevin and not to act like Son's therapist. In the past 48 hours, Karen has gone out of her way to keep hubby in the dark about Son and disregarded all of Son's requests. In case you missed it, Karen is a therapist.
No, we did miss it. That's crazy.
This showed me everything I need to know. Karen doesn't care about Son. She's worried about maintaining her image and control. She even lied directly to hubby and I, stating that her and Kevin never speak poorly to Son. Now I am done. I tried to be civil so I wouldn't cause drama or stress for Son and hubby. We tried the legal system, but it failed us and nearly cost Son his life. Now I want to make sure Karen cannot do this to anyone else. In my country, parents have to report income to their local county office. This helps the county to determine how much a parent should pay in child support. Karen has been working for 2 years and has not reported her income to the county office. This is not legal and can come with serious consequences. Also, as a therapist, she must maintain a clean criminal record. Failure to do so would make her unemployable. Would I be an asshole if I exposed Karen to the county office and jeopardise her career and livelihood so she cannot cause this type of damage to anyone else?
No, she has no business being a therapist. If that's how
woman
you
is a
treat,
terrorist.
if that's how you treat your own flesh and blood,
She enjoys it as well, and I think she enjoys it because he's neurodivergent.
Yeah, and I guarantee, it's like having that neurodivergent son is a badge of honor that she can use within
As a
her,
therapist.
Yeah,
in
within
her
her career.
This is scary, man.
Please go rat on Karen, because you know what, Karen will do the same thing to you in a
I
heartbeat.
think she would, yeah.
Based on the person that you've described, I need him to turn into a legal adult, which should be 18, and then he can come and live with you guys. I think you guys are just gonna have to do the countdown, and until then, obviously,
she's got evidence.
Rat out. No, she has to
She
rat
does.
out.
She has got
her.
evidence.
Because do you know what? She's such a terror to deal with that even a judge will give her everything that she wants just so that they can be rid of her.
So they
And
don't
so
deal with her, yeah.
So based on that, you have to rat her out. It's your civic duty, ma'am.
Ma'am.
No, genuinely, please.
She sounds awful.
She's
She is the epitome of
horrible.
like.
And
look
then
up
also
awful.
the stepdad as
But do you know what I really hate? Like people in those kind of professions, like in the caring professions, and then you find out they're wicked.
two-faced,
Oh
yeah.
my
They've
God.
got public faces,
That-
I'm so lovely,
that
but their private
hurts
face
me.
is a monster.
But especially knowing that her son is neurodivergent and she uses
And taking
that.
pictures when he's wet And
When he's
probably
wet-
suffering from hypothermia.
No, this is really, really sad because also she said that she basically disorientates him so that he'll stay up late to play the game with her. And so he's obviously not fit enough to do her
She knows all the
home-
points. She knows all the things that she needs to do.
Do you know
he's
what?
not doing his schoolwork.
I was
like,
waiting for
that's
you
so
to say that
sad.
she deleted his ranking in the games. I was waiting for you to say that.
She's
So that she'll mess him up
she's
completely.
a monster. She's the type of person that shouldn't be allowed
But
to
good
have
for
kids.
the parents though for always like trying. It's good to
Yeah.
hear that he's got two people, even though they're helpless in
his
this
corner.
situation.
Yeah.
But he has two people, including a stepmom. Because Lord knows the stepmom is out here.
Yeah.
They be plotting against the children too. It's good to know that this
Yeah.
woman actually is
She
actively
cares.
like
Yeah.
categorically putting all the things down so that she can actually plot against Karen. Karen actually sounds like Thanos. Like they're really trying to get rid of her and they cannot get rid of this woman.
She's a
Yeah, I know.
nightmare.
She's a big villain, you know.
She big villain. I feel so. Oh my god. I feel so sorry for Son.
Wow.
But yeah, you wouldn't be the asshole. Do what you got to do, sis. Because at the end of the day, it's
If there's anything that I can do to help, let me
Son's
know.
life. It's no, but I. Do you know what it is?
I'm being dead ass.
No, but do you
serious.
know the stuff that she's doing is really detrimental to his life. He nearly
know.
killed himself. That's how
See,
bad
that's
she
why
is.
when he sent that text saying sorry, I thought suicide.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
didn't
same.
think I didn't
Same.
think runaway teenager. I thought,
But it was
this
to
is
run
a
away to
clear
commit suicide, though.
declaration of
But it was
suicidal
to run away to
behaviour.
commit suicide. That is sad.
Yeah. My story comes off of truth off my chest. 5 years later, I'm still haunted by the words he said when he left me. 5 years ago, I ruined everything. I was engaged to the kindest, most loving man I'd ever known. He was the kind of person who made everyone around him feel cared for, safe, and loved. We were planning our wedding. I thought we were going to spend the rest of our lives together. And then I made the dumbest mistake of my life. I kissed someone else. It was meaningless and I regretted it the moment it happened. The guilt was unbearable. I told him the next day because I couldn't keep it from him. I begged for forgiveness, promised I'd do anything to fix it. But he just looked at me like I'd shattered something deep inside him. He didn't yell, he didn't cry. He just said, "It's over," and walked out.
Wow.
I tried to reach him for weeks. He ignored every call and text. Eventually, I wrote him a long letter apologizing and asking him for one chance to talk. When he finally agreed to meet, I thought maybe, just maybe, we could work through it. We talked about our memories, the good times, the love we shared, all the dreams we had for the future. For a moment, it almost felt like old times. And then I asked him if he could ever forgive me. What he said next has been burned into my brain ever since. I hear it every single day, word for word, and it plays in my mind like a broken record. I hope someone comes into your life who makes you feel loved and safe just to betray you. I hope you spend every day wondering if the people you trust are lying to you. I hope you never feel secure in love again. I hope even when things seem perfect, there's a part of you that can't shake the doubt. I hope every "I love you" you hear makes you wonder if they really mean it. And when it all falls apart, when it breaks you, I hope you remember that this is what you gave me. He didn't say it to be cruel.
Whoa.
He wasn't a cruel man. He was the kindest, most selfless person I'd ever known. That's what makes it hurt so much. He said it because it was the truth, because that's what I did to him. He got up and left, but his words stayed. They live in my head, echoing constantly. Every night when I try to fall asleep, I hear them again. Every time I feel even a little happy, they come back to remind me that I don't deserve it. I've tried to move on, but I can't. I can't love anyone without doubting them. I can't trust anyone without waiting for the betrayal. Every relationship I've had since has fallen apart because of that fear, that voice in the back of my head telling me it's all going to happen again. I know I did this to myself. I know I might even deserve this, but living with it seems unbearable some days. I still know where he lives. He didn't move out of the apartment we used to share. He still works at the same company he did back then. I've kept track of him through mutual friends, though I've never asked him to relay anything back to him. I've watched from a distance as his life went on without me. And now, after all of these years, I'm thinking about going to him one more time to ask for forgiveness, to try and explain myself again, to tell him I've carried the weight of what I did every single day since he walked out. I don't even know what I'm hoping for. Maybe I just want to hear him say he's moved on, that he's happy, or that I can let go of the small selfish part of me that wonders if he ever thinks about us. Or maybe I'm hoping he'll say he can forgive me, even if it changes nothing. I know I shouldn't. He deserves peace. I know my showing up will only dredge up old wounds, but I don't know how to let go of his words or the fact that I destroyed the only person who ever truly loved me. And then the top comment says, the kindest thing you can do is never to speak to him again.
Agreed. Move on.
Try and
Same.
move on. Get therapy, girl.
Yeah.
You're going to need it.
Get-
Because those words were harsh, though.
Yeah.
Ooh. I was
Do you know how
like,
shocked I was?
I know.
I was like,
mouth
yes.
My mouth was
that's it.
open
But you know
for a
what?
minute.
do you know what? That is what cheating does.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm so glad he was able to articulate it in such a way. But wow.
Is
I
he
was
a
like-
writer?
Huh?
I
a
think,
poet.
is he a
He's a
writer?
poet.
He, no,
Because I was like,
he
yeah.
needs to be writing scripts.
it's
Or love
fantastic.
songs. Or
Yeah,
love
this is
songs.
Days of Our Lives. Like,
I was
fantastic.
blown away. Blown away, impressed.
But do you know what I'm also blown away by?
Her memory.
Her memory. Hey, Auntie, that was fantastic. Because me, I'll be like, he said something along the lines
Yeah,
of...
exactly. Me. Anyway, I would have, you know me, I would have checked out after 3 words. I would have been like, oh, okay, so it's a no, yeah?
Do you know what? Yeah, she definitely needs therapy,
Yeah,
man.
she
It's
does.
it's
She
a
needs-
hard
Yeah,
pill
she
to
needs
swallow.
therapy to get over it. And also, leave that man alone.
I know, please.
Leave that
him
man alone. The wound that you've caused him, yeah, is so deep that he didn't talk to you for ages. And then when he did, the words that he said to you have been imprinted on your mind for 5 years. Yeah? Not 5 months, 5 years. You're still here stalking this man secretly, asking about him through his friends, keeping on track of him.
And
Move on
and
and get
also-
therapy so that you can move on.
It's not his job to make sure that you're all right
Yeah.
after you wounded him. Like, seriously, please leave him alone.
He's also trying to gather himself. Because how
Yeah.
you feel is maybe also how he feels.
Exactly.
You've done it to him. Imagine how he feels. Yes, yes, get that therapy. But also, like, give me his number because I really would love someone. Like, I have words that I want to say. It's so beautifully written,
he's
so beautifully
articulate.
said.
Very articulate.
Blown away.
Fantastic.
I need him to write movies,
Right,
write TV
A
shows.
romantic
I will
show.
tune in. The way I love Dick Wolf, sir, what's your name?
Listen.
I would watch everything that he writes.
Fantastic.
Poor
Fantastic.
guy.
And we
Do you
are
know-
heartless people because look at what we love about this story. Look at what we love about this story. And to be fair, I think we're right. This is fantastic. I'm so
Poor
sorry.
guy.
Pain aside, this is a fantastic. His speaking skills should not be.
They should be wasted as a IT consultant.
As you can hear, someone needs your help, bro. Wow, he says speaking
Guys,
skills.
let me see. Let me say something to you. Yeah, I've got a complaint, and I'm gonna say at the end of the episode. Being friends with twins
Oh my
will never be the
God.
thing that will help you thrive. This girl can't read.
What?
But every day,
I
what
can't
we,
read.
we edit it out. The one time I want to speak, you want to be shouting.
No.
Also, please notice a couple of episodes ago, did you notice that they had different jumpers on and I was wearing a simple dress? And they've got Stanley cups and I've got my Highlands water. Understand that it's a lonely road being friends with twins. And yeah, this is how I
Marie's
suffer.
PSA.
My PSA is,
Wow.
if you're going to move this way, you can't bully me, yeah? You cannot bully me.
It's not on purpose, honestly. It's,
on
really
purpose.
not. It's not.
It's on
not.
purpose. Who just sipped from their sippy cup? Who was it?
Yeah,
Is it her? Okay, great.
I
Never want to hear you say nothing because on this chair I sit alone. Yeah? Thank you.
You're only
We can move on.
I'm not.
And thank God I'm confident in being an only child because by now, where would I be? Being friends with you two, wearing jumpers. Is it? Look.
No,
look.
we're not
They're all
coordinated.
uniform.
cold.
We're not
It's cold.
coordinated. We're not.
It's
We're not. I
cold.
promise you. I promise you.
They wore jumpers for Christmas. What was it?
Christmas
Yeah,
jumper
it was
day.
Christmas jumper day.
May forgot to give you the memo. That
I
was
did.
not on
You
me.
both forgot to
It
give
was
me the
my
That was
memo.
bad.
May. No, May.
It was my
Right, come on,
bad.
come on.
Right?
I
And
know.
It was
then
May. It was May.
simultaneously, all of a sudden, we come to the studio. Every day there's a Stanley Cup. And now they're like, yeah, you should get one too. Should I? Should I? Nice. Anyway, that's me done.
We'll be better.
And that's it. So thanks for tuning in. Let us know which subreddits you'd like to hear more of.
Next week's stories are going to be wild.
See you next week. Bye.
Bye.